Are you serious about becoming a better angler? Increasing your catch rate? Then be sure to check out the Teachin Fishin subscription service. The Teachin Fishin subscription service gives you access to exclusive web programming, seminars, live events, articles, workshops, and more every month. Early registration times and discounts on classes, events, and fishing education weekends gives you first chance to guarantee your spot. Check out the Teachin Fishin subscription service benefits and sign-up information by going to teachinfishin.com and following the links.
And we can say good morning and welcome to Teachin Fishin Coffee Hour for hard to believe, man, oh man, November 2nd. Boy, oh boy, hard to believe we were just sitting here in March trying to figure out what we were going to do, and now it is November, and that is an absolute, honestly, travesty. I was talking to Larry yesterday on the way up to, hey, Randy's up in Lewiston. Larry came out with me to get the boat yesterday. We were talking. He says, you know, I feel like I was given a gift certificate of time in March and April, you know, and then all summer, obviously. Really didn't get going with a full schedule, but I feel like I was given a gift certificate of time this year to try to get things done. And like, you know, maybe some of you, I was a little frustrated and down, and I feel like that gift certificate just expired, and all that free time I had to do cool things, I kind of wasted, and I got to throw that gift certificate away because it's no good anymore. So kind of a little frustrating. It's but you know, today's a new day and a new week, and we're on our way. So good to be here. For those of you who are new, this is Teachin Fishin Coffee Hour. We get together every Monday morning, just have a random chat about a couple fishing topics that that we like to talk about. Today we're going to talk about a couple things: boat covers, boat slips. We'll sneak in a few fishing questions. We try not to make this too seminary. That's something we do over at our website, teachinfishin.com. If you're new to us, we're kind of in the process of kind of reorganizing that. So there's a lot of stuff there to look at, especially if you kind of scroll down to the middle of the screen. There's a link there to our resource center, a link to our, the resource center takes you to our library. There's a video library, there's a video vault, there's our 8-step seminars, lots of stuff you can get to. We're working on reprogramming the TV station. So there's a TV on there that we've had a little issue with, so we're getting that back rolling. And then you can always check us out here at the Teachin Fishin Facebook page. Go back to our archives. There's videos, both seminars and coffee hours that we've done over the last little bit of time. But Teachin Fishin is our name. Teachin Fishin is our mission. It's what we do. And every Monday morning we get together. This started during the COVID shutdown, just as a way to kind of keep me sane. I get a chance to talk to all you guys when we lost all of our show season and our early charter season, and it just kind of exploded from there. Good morning, Diane Steele, our good friend from New York. Kenny Sparks says, new Polar Craft rider at Freeway Sports. Should be ready by the end of the week. That's exciting. It's always exciting to get a new boat. I've got this year's Polar Craft sold, so it'll be, the guys who bought it are from Indiana. They're coming to Ohio. We're going to go fishing on Friday and Saturday during our trip, and then they will drive away with the Polar Craft, and I'll be left with the Angler Quest. Well, you got a new Polar Craft coming, so like they say, the two happiest days of a fisherman of a boat owner's life: the day he buys it and the day he sells it. So, but anyway, good morning, Chester. How are you? Our good friend Chet. I'm sure I've seen some pictures. He's been down fishing. Ed Bolnowski, you hear anything about spring shows? We're going to talk about that towards the end of today. I don't want to start today with bad news, so we're going to start with good news and happy thoughts, and we'll move on to business. All right, so let's get started. So I have two topics for today. Again, this is just kind of a fun little chat. I'm going to announce something we got going on tomorrow night. We'll announce that a little bit later. But I want to start with this conversation. Okay, let's get our bad joke out of the way. John Suzalka, why did Batman and Robin stop fishing together? Because Robin ate all the worms. Okay, very nice. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about today is a conversation. We just shot a little piece we're editing right now about boat covers. How many of you guys are boat cover people? How many of you use a boat cover consistently? How many of you trailer with your boat cover? How many of you use a boat cover all the time? Me personally, I'm a boat cover guy. If I'm not in my boat fishing, it's covered. We have a really good custom canvas shop up here north of us a couple miles. J&K Canvas are good friends of our group. I go up there and have them, once I get all my stuff on, and I have them make me a custom cover after I get all my stuff on the boat. And I do not go anywhere. I don't put the boat anywhere. If I'm not fishing out of it, it is covered with a good high quality cover. The Polar Craft is really, really, really cool because it has a rail on the outside. It's a little grooved rail, so you can put snaps on it. And I cover with snaps. I've had boats before that had straps, that had bungee cords. I've had covers before that strapped to the trailer. They're all well and good. The problem is you get rub on the outside of your surface, right? So I like a snap cover. Now the problem with a snap cover, when I used to get those made on my Skeeters and the yard crafts I used to run, you had to screw studs into the side of the boat to put the snaps in. Well, Polar Craft came up with a little rail on the outside. It's just underneath the gunnel. It's a little rail, a little groove in it. Then you get these two little pieces. It's a little plastic piece that just kind of opens up. And then you get one of the screw studs. The little plastic piece slides in the rail. You screw the stud into the plastic piece. That plastic piece expands and stays in the rail. And you just slide it to where you need it. So now you can snap. Reason I snap, lots of reasons. Number one, I like the snap cover for it's easy to put on and put off. Number two, I don't get any rash on the side of my boat or on my trailer where the straps are. The biggest thing for me with a snap cover, and I see you guys are answering, I'm going to get to those in just a second. The biggest thing for me with a snap cover is I can cover when I'm in a slip. And I spend a lot of time in a slip. That's our next topic today. I spend a lot of time in a slip and I want my boat covered. And there's no way, if you have a cover that has to be secured to the trailer or bungee corded down to either the rails of the boat or to the trailer, you can't hold that cover down when you're in a slip. So snap covers are very easy to use in a slip. And I don't use any poles. I use my front butt seat as the front support. And then I don't use any poles in the back. I make it so it's really, really tight so it's not going to sag. Now, I take that back. I do use a pole if I'm going to let it sit like over the winter time or it's going to sit for 2 or 3 weeks. I will put a pole in the back, but I usually don't put a pole in the back. But I use my bow seat so I don't have all these, these poles. You got to figure out where they go and you lose them. So I use my butt seat as the support in the top. So I also, just a little heads up, I don't cover my trolling motor. So you got your trolling motor and it's on that front deck. And what I do is I have them put snaps along the back side of the front deck and I snap there. So I go underneath my trolling motor. Reason I do that is a lot of times I'll take the trolling motor on, take the trolling motor off, and the cover seems to fit better if you don't have to go over that trolling motor. Just something that I do. I don't cover my trolling motor. So full snap cover, snap it up all the way down the side, usually 15, 16 snaps on the side, then a couple snaps in the back, and it is good and secure. So let's kind of see what you guys do with your covers. Jason Kelly says he's got one. Won't have another boat without one. I agree with that 100%. Frank Brodsky says he travels 2 to 3 hour drive per trip, always covered. I had a better than the Ranger original made that has no snaps. Roy says he covers on long trips or if it's sitting overnight. The other reason I like to cover, especially when I travel, is if you look at, put something white in your boat, be it a white cooler, be it something white. Trailer down the road 4, 5, 6, 7 times just on short fishing trips. Look how nasty that piece of that white thing in your boat gets. Road grime, oil from your truck, oil from the road, dirt, grime, all that crud that gets blown up, right? Look at the side of your boat after you trailer, 6, 8, 10, 12 trips. That stuff all gets in the inside of your boat. It gets your windshield nasty, it gets the inside of your boat nasty, it gets your gear inside all nasty, gets your seats all cruddy. So covering when I'm traveling, I don't care if I'm going from here 15 minutes down the road to Holloway Reservoir, I cover. I don't take the cover off until I get to the ramp, and the first thing I do after I get the boat out and get everything tied down is I put the cover on. I don't go down the road 2 minutes without putting the cover on. Windshield chips. I've seen a lot of guys that walk through windshields, get to a tournament, and part of their windshield's chipped. Cover helps stop all that, kind of protects the boat. So, the other thing I'll let you lose, if you're lazy like me, sometimes you go on a fishing trip, it's rainy, it's cold, it's whatever it is, it's late, you just want to get done. Just store your gear in the boat, snap the cover down, drive it home, and the next day you can uncover it and take care of your gear. So, nets don't fly out, tackle boxes don't disappear. And it also keeps the quote-unquote honest thieves out. If you're going to be at a marina, or you're going to have your boat parked in a public area, or you got to leave your boat overnight, or you're in a slip, it just kind of keeps the honest thieves out. So, unless literally, unless I am fishing, my boat is covered. That's how I do it. And I've been doing that for a long time. Gary Sack says his boat is normally in my garage when I'm not fishing. However, when I take it fishing, I cover it after he gets back to camp. Dave says just a clear enclosure under the hard top. Okay, so he doesn't cover. Jeff's house's cover always doesn't drive with it. Jim Mick says no boat cover. My boat deserves to occupy the garage along with my hydroplane and motorcycle. Cars stay outside. I don't have a big enough garage for my boat, but when I did have a boat that fit in the garage, I still kept it covered. I just, again, it sits in your garage. There's still dirt and grime and dust, and I just like my cover on. Dave Van Lopez is a generic cover with canopy. The boat and cover sit under in the summer. Winter inside storage at friends. I like that. Randy Kruger, boat covers on most of the time. Arlo says, I use one, but I don't travel with it unless I'm making a big trip. Jeff says, 50-50 when sitting covered, depending on the length of trip, whether cover's on or off. Long trip covered, short trip uncovered. So that's always my question, right? And I would tell you this, for me, I would rather store my boat uncovered and trailer it covered than store it covered and trailer it uncovered. There's so much crap. When you travel as much as I have, and you've seen as many guys travel, fishing the tournament circuits, you watch these guys roll into a tournament with a boat that's 2 weeks old and the windshields are shattered because of a rock chip. How many of you have had a rock chip bust your windshield on your truck? Right? It happens all the time. You throw a rock up on your boat windshield. It's a lot harder to get a boat windshield replaced than it is a truck windshield. And again, all that crap. Look at the front of your truck when you're driving. Take a 15-minute ride to your local lake and look at the front of your. Clean it all, get it all washed, get it all nice. Look at the front of your truck. All that crud that's there is going to end up on the boat, in the boat also, on your seats, all that stuff. I just think trailering with a cover really makes your boat stay nice looking a lot longer. Dean and I did a little video the other day. We were at the lake. We talked about the track on the Polar Craft that we really like. We're short. My trailer sits a little higher than I like. And it's kind of hard for Dean and I, two little short guys, to kind of flip the cover over the bow seat. But it took us, from the time we put the cover on the nose, and I'm using that. I'm actually, I hope Forrest is here this morning. They didn't have time with COVID to get me in and get a custom cover. So Forrest Menzing, who keeps his boat in his garage, bought one of my old Polar Crafts, was kind enough to let me use his cover to keep, because I do have to store outside. I don't have a place to put my boat inside. So I have to do store outside. So Forrest was a great friend and kind enough to let me borrow his cover. So his cover goes over the nose of his boat and over his trolling motor. But it took us, from the time we put the cover over the nose of the trolling motor, unwound it, even with our little hiccup getting it over the high seat, snapping it up and ready to go, I'm going to tell you less than 2 minutes to be ready to go. I like a cover. I just like a cover. Robert Moon says, morning Lance and coffee group. I use my travel cover on the Polarcraft in questionable weather when trailing. Tuxedo in good weather. My boat is always in the garage when not fishing. I like that. John Hakala, I keep my boat covered and stored outside. Any easy way to dry carpet in boat after fishing trips? The best thing that I found when I ran carpet, if my stuff got wet, I would. I bought a green machine, a floor scrubber sucker, kind of a wet dry vac, but designed for carpets. I went and bought myself a green machine. I keep it in my garage. It's just for my boats, and that's how I would clean my carpet. I would take a little brush, like a stand-up, boat cleaning brush. I put a little bit, and I just use regular dish detergent. Put some water on it, scrub it real good, and I get on my hands and knees and suck it all up, and done. So just a wet dry vac. The last couple boats I've gone straight vinyl. I haven't had carpet on a boat, I can't tell you how long, and that's the best decision I ever made. Vinyl with a wash down. People are like, well, I fish in I fish in March, I fish in December. We fish cold weather, we fish snow, we fish ice. Good vinyl that's kept, the good vinyl that you get on a good quality boat, and you keep it clean, you're not going to slide at all. Tackle boxes don't slide. Good quality vinyl is huge. It's something that I've done on my boats, and I love it because we take our fish out in the Detroit River. You take them all out, you put them back in, you bleed them, you do all that stuff. That carpet would just soak up that fish smell, and after a couple of weeks, you're just like, oh my goodness gracious, it's terrible in here. And you constantly have to scrub it and clean it. Vinyl, you put some crap on there, you get the wash down, you hose her down, and you go fishing. You never have to worry about it. So if you're getting ready to buy a new boat, I would tell you to seriously consider an all vinyl floor. Very, very easy to take care of. John Suzuki says he doesn't travel with a cover. It's easy to wash the boat, hard to clean the cover. Unless it's over the winter, I don't cover the boat at home because it's always stored indoors. I like that. Again, I'm a big fan in trailering covered. I like the protection it gives it. Saul says this is a hard top with the balance of the boat is covered. Kevin uses the factory Ranger cover, which is kind of cool. It's got the little ratchets in the back that you can tie down. I've never tried to use a Ranger cover in a slip. I don't know how that would work. Tom Sacharch, I can never say Tom's name. I hear it in my head. Snap cover, and he's docked. We're going to talk about slips in a minute. Robert says always cover for long trips. Local trips, no, but it's always in the truck to get inclement weather. I like that. Mitch says he covers his boat 75% of the time, but not trailing. So I'm curious, Mitch, why? Why would you cover the boat and not leave it on when you trailer? Is it because you don't have the right cover to trailer? Because look, if you don't have good quality covers, right, and they're not built right, and you can't really secure them, they are a pain in the rear end for trailering. I've watched covers flap and rip, and I've watched that happen. That's again why I like the snap cover. Get it custom made, get it pulled really, really tight, and it fits like a glove, and it's awesome. Kim says his boat is garage kept. His travel cover used for long trips. Now, see, I'm gonna be a little smart aleck here. Saying that you only cover on long trips, it's like saying you only wear your seatbelt if you're going to go more than 10 miles from home. A rock chip, road crud, all the bad things that covers help you protect, those can happen on a 3-mile trip down to your local lake as easy as they can happen on a long trip. So there you go. Ray says, good morning from North Dakota. Hi, Ray. Cover at all times, travel and storage. You see a lot of that. The crappier the roads are, the more dirt roads or the more 2-lane highways you travel. You see a lot of the guys, you get to northwestern Minnesota, the Dakotas specifically, everybody covers. And a lot of them had those little wings on the trailer that protect from rock chips on the boat too. You see a lot of that. Usually the further west you go, you see a lot more guys cover. Randy says, have to have it in the heated garage, the charter Niagara River all along. First choice fishing charters. Half mile to the dock for winter months. So he just kind of runs it out there and away he goes. So nice. Roy makes a great point, right? He had a few things come up missing this year when he stopped at the tackle shop, so maybe I should be covering. I I tell you, a cover keeps the honest thieves out. The longer it takes them to have to get in and they can't see, right? I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Frank says Starbright with PTF once a year keeps it very waterproof. Last cover lasted 8 years. Yeah, I've got one. Actually, I've got one out there that was on one of my boats that the cover's got to be 12 years old, and the guy's still trailing with it, still snapping it on and snapping it off. So, yeah, Starbright, the PTF, that does keep it waterproof. I know that some of that I think that Starbright stuff also has UV protection. And again, get a good quality cover, made of Top Gun material or something like that, a real heavy. It keeps the rain off. It keeps it just. I just like to trailer. Terry says trailers with his boat cover. The cover that came with my boat is like yours. In the barn, I cover with the Visqueen. Ryan, absolutely. Morning. He lives on gravel. If I don't run with the travel cover, the boat's like a sandbox. I love his factory lung cover. Matt says love his Ranger travel cover, so fast to take on. It's me. I just like traveling with the cover. Scotty Keene, unless I'm going just from the cabin to the bay, which is about that far, he always covers. It actually pulls better and it doesn't buck the wind. I agree with that too. I think a covered boat actually pulls better than an uncovered boat because you don't have the wind kind of going. If you've got two regular bubble windshields, that wind's going in the boat. If you've got a walk through, it's going underneath and it's catching all. You put a cover on it, it just slides right over. It's one big piece going down. I agree with that. I think the boat does travel tow easier with the cover than it does without it. I definitely agree with that. Danny says, what about heat inside the cover? Had some of my baits ruined. The heat is hotter than we think. Now it's inside the garage. That could be an issue. That's a great point, Danny. That could be an issue in the summertime if you keep your boat covered for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. It can get too hot in there. Baits will start to melt. It could create an issue, but I would tell you, if you got to keep your boat covered for 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row in the summertime, you need to rethink what you're doing. You go fishing once in a while. Vent covers. You can put extra vent covers in your boat. And I would tell you, if you had that situation, you get a nice day or two, uncover it in the morning. Like, again, I can literally hop in my boat, undo the snaps, hop in my boat, and roll the cover up in 30 seconds. Danny makes a great point. If it is the middle of summer, you get a day or two where you can uncover the boat, let it kind of air out a little bit, because sometimes those covers do trap you. That's a good point, Danny. That's I would say if there's a con, I would go with that one. Mike says he covers sun, dirt, birds, etc. All that stuff that'll get you. Mike Yermer says best hat for cleaning boat carpets is to use shaving cream. I've heard that. Cleans carpet perfectly, does not re-suds when you rinse, and rinses easily. And it cuts the fish smell. It's what we use to wash our hands after we clean fish. So I like that. That's a good idea. Randy says I charge right to scrub and clean. Yeah, that's the part they don't tell you about, isn't it, Randy? The 5-hour charter is the easy part. It's the 2 hours before and the 2 hours after that nobody sees. So, Kenny says, have you ever had the Polarcraft cover come loose while on the road? My first Polarcraft, I used the cover that came with it out of the box, and it has tie-down straps, and you got to loop the elastic straps. And I made one trip to South Dakota. And I said, that's the end of that. And as soon as I got back, I went to J&K and had a custom cover made. I don't buy covers from the manufacturers anymore because they're generic. They don't fit anything. And, the stuff we put on our boats. By the time you put track and a couple rod holders, I have mine built, so all I have to do is take off my trees. So all my other rod holders can stay on. All my Trax Tech stuff is tiltable, so I tilt it in. The only thing I have to take out of my track is my tall trees. And then I can just put the cover on and away I go. I've also got a flap for all 4 of my cleats. So if I want to tie down at a marina, I can open the flap and put the rope over top of the cover as opposed to under the cover where it won't snap. And then I have a big flap made for my gas tank. So I can just pull in, open the flap, gas up, and away we go. So Kenny, your answer is yes. Those the Polar Craft covers that come with them aren't going to work. They're too generic. So save that, you know, $300-400, whatever it is. You're probably going to spend a good quality cover on a 20-foot boat. It's going to cost you $600 to $800, depending on how you do it. But it'll last you forever. Snap on there and you'll be able to use it all the time. So, Roy, great question. I'll tell you something I don't do enough. What about motor covers? Absolutely. His Ranger came with motor covers, used them coming home from Minnesota, but haven't since. I feel the same way, right? You take that time to clean your motor, you get it all nice and looking, especially if you got a black motor. Like I think Roy does. Roy, remind me, do you run Yamaha or Mercury? I can't remember. I thought you were a Mercury guy. But you know, my Suzuki is black, and you get it nice, and you get it all polished, and you get it all waxed, and you drive down the road, and it's like, ugh. Motor covers are a big deal. A nice motor cover. I know when I was running Yamahas, they made a nice little cover with a kind of a little sheepskin lining. I had one for my big engine, I had one for my kicker motor. When I traveled a long way, for sure, I put those motor covers on. I like those. I absolutely like them. I think it's a great idea. It protects your investment, keeps your motors looking good. I don't like covers that have motor hoods on them because now you kind of, they never really fit right. So separate motor covers, absolutely, Roy, without question. And everybody's listening that has a 225 or a 250 Yamaha 4-stroke and would like a nice motor cover, get a hold of me. I've got one sitting in my garage. Matt Peterson says he trailers covered. I know Matt does. Covered, stored in a heated garage, keep the dust out. Sale says, I once bought a cheap cover, lasted 1 hour. At least you got an hour out of it, Sal. Yeah, generic covers, you know, those universal kind of one size fits none covers. I just, you know, I started covering, you know, I had the first boat I had was a little 14-footer. Second boat I had was a little bit bigger 14-footer, and we put a cover on that. We strapped it down. I had a friend of mine who taught me a little trick, you know, on the splash rail on the side of your boat, you put those little eye hooks, those little half circle eye hooks, screw them into there, and then short bungees to your cover, and then you just bungee them to the rail, the splash rail on the side of the boat. Really worked out good. And I started covering with that little 14-footer. Again, problem with my 14-footer wasn't so much the road grime and all that crap. It was there was really not a lot of places to put my gear. So every time in that 14-footer I wanted to come home or go to or from the lake, I had to take all my gear, put it in my truck, get to the lake, put it in the boat because I had stuff flat. I lost tackle boxes, I lost nets, I lost a cooler one day because you know that little boats don't have, you know, stuff flies around and away it goes. So that was the reason I started covering. Originally, as a little boat was I could just throw all my gear in there, cover it up, and I wouldn't have to worry about taking my gear. I could actually store my gear in the boat. Then when I got my first Lund, my Pro V, I got a cover, and you know, fixed that all up. That was actually again a bungee cord that went down to the splash rails. And then I started putting in a slip, and I had to bungee cord one side, then kind of try to pull it over and try to get the bungee cords on the other. And that's when I'm trying to think who I saw. Somebody at a ramp one day, and this was back in the mid-90s. Somebody I saw at a ramp one day had a snap cover. And I'm like, oh, that's the deal right there. And then when we got our other boats, I got my first Crestliner, my first real tournament boat in 1998, and we started making snap covers from there, and we've done it ever since. Matt says Ranger covers are not great in a slip. I would think that would be true. John says, I guess if I had a boat big enough to store all my tackling, I'd cover it, but I'm in my boat every day, changing out the gear I'm going to use the next day. I can't ever make up my mind to chase one species in one place. I'm too much of a generalist. I probably need to focus on one thing instead of being a jack of all trades. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Arlo, agreed, but my cover doesn't fit with my rods, trees, rod holders, riggers. Yeah, so that's, you know, that's one of those things, right? And that's why, again, I like a custom cover. I completely rig my boat, put everything on it, and I say, okay, I take it to them with everything on it and say, let's take as little off as possible. And then they build a cover around what I leave on there. And I think I could probably get them to do something with the trees too, if I really, really worked at it. So, Kyle, this is a great question, Kyle. He says, do you cover your AQ2 when trailering? The answer is no. And I was thinking about it yesterday. I have individual seat covers on my Angler Quest. So my Angler Quest has 2 front seats, 2 front couches. I cover both of those, and then I have a cover for the console. And I have a cover for the captain's chair that has a live well attached to it. The reason I don't is I only trailer my Angler Quest 4 times a year. I trailer it from the factory to Linwood Beach Marina, from Linwood Beach Marina to Ohio, from Ohio back to Linwood Beach Marina, and then when I'm done, from Linwood Beach Marina to back to the factory for them to shrink wrap it and store it over the wintertime. I'm thinking really, really hard that I want to get a playpen cover, because there are times I may go 4, 5, 6 days without fishing on Saginaw Bay, and those seat covers work, but they don't completely protect the boat. So having what's called a playpen cover, something that covers the whole inside of the boat, I think that's awesome. I was thinking about that yesterday, and I was trailering home because it was so windy. I took the seat covers off, so I'm driving that boat from Linwood Beach back here to the house so we can take it to Ohio. And it's snowing and it's sleeting and it's yucky, and I'm like, oh man, now I got to clean that boat. Yes, if my Angler Quest was the only boat I had and I trailered it more than I do, I would absolutely have a playpen cover built without question. There's not rod storage in a in an Angler Quest. So driving down the road with rods in the boat, if you put a cover on, a little bungee cord maybe to hold the butts of the rod down on the floor, you could trailer with all your rods laying down and have no problem. You can put extra tackle in there. Leave your cooler in the boat. I got to take all that out. We got ready to come home yesterday. 2 coolers had to come out. All the rods had to come out. All that stuff. I have stuff in the back compartment, pliers and wire cutters and all that stuff. All that stuff had to come out and go in a storage compartment because I was, pulling it uncovered. I didn't know what would stay in the boat. Great question, Kyle. Yes, if the Angler Quest was my boat, the only boat I had, and I trailered it a lot, without question, I'd buy a full playpen cover. I wouldn't think a second about it. I would absolutely do that. Roy Miller's a Mercury. Yeah, so he's got a black motor, right? And you get those black motors are hard to keep clean. They're a constant fight with water spots. So a motor cover is a good idea. And again, it's an extra 30 seconds at the ramp to unhook it, throw it in the back of the truck. Easy. Hi, Dougie. Randy Kruger says white Suzuki picks up dust all the time, without question. Roderick, walking into work. Have a great week, buddy. Steve Lee says, if you fill your cooler with ice and beer, it won't blow out. That's a good point, my friend. Ryan says, one other reason he only travels with his cover on is the time it takes to cover, and the cost of it is much cheaper than the fancy curved. It's not so much the cost is a huge factor in replacing a walk-through windshield. It's the time. You're not going to walk into a store and get one, right? You blow up a truck windshield. If you're coy about it, you can probably get somebody to change your truck windshield that day. You can find somebody to take care of you. You're not going to do that in a boat. I fished a whole tournament one time without a passenger side windshield. We had a little accident and it blew out, and you're not going to find one. So yeah, I agree with that. And walk-through windshields are not cheap. All right, how many guys? Here's another question. Now, I don't do this only because I don't. I should. John says, how many guys cover the trailer-mounted spare tire? I think that is huge. UV kills tires. Covering your spare tire is a big deal. I put a lock on mine. Every time I get a new boat, I go to the store and I buy a set of 4 locks that are keyed the same. And I buy 2 of the the vinyl coated wire kind of bicycle chains, and I lock my spare tires. I run 2 spare tires, which I think if you are If you have a dual axle trailer and don't have 2 spares, you're silly. Because I guarantee if you run over something in a dual axle trailer, if you run over something that cuts one tire, you're probably going to cut the tire, that second tire on the other side. So I carry 2 spares. I just use that bike lock. I lock them. So there's 2 of my locks. I use the other lock for the latch, trailer latch. They're all keyed the same. And that way one key opens all the stuff in my boat. And I have another lock that I usually put on my locker in Detroit, and everything's keyed the same. So, but yes, you should cover your spare tires. I think that's a great idea, Johnny. Sales going to work. Have a good day, bud. All right, Ben, have a good day. Yeah, Royce's windshield for his boat was 10 weeks. Boom, boom. Randy says trolling motor is mounted on a quick release, so I can pull it off. Remove it and slide on the river anchor. I like that. I like stuff. Doug says black motors. Used to use the McGuire's hard water spot. That stuff works pretty good until this summer, and finally used a stronger vinegar water mix recommended by a client, and boom, no more expensive. 50-50 mix of vinegar and water. Hey, Doug, bring a bunch of that and show me how that works. Show me how that works this weekend. Just kidding. Anyway, good conversation. Good conversation. It's kind of neat to see how everybody kind of does their stuff. Again, I love my Polar Craft because it has those little rails. You can slide those little screws in there, and you're good to go. So, all right, let's talk a little bit. Let's kind of switch gears here. Let's kind of go on to topic number 2 I wanted to talk about today. I guess I don't need that sticker inside my hat. Boat slips. Now, obviously, I charter, and I wouldn't think about not being in a slip. It just saves me so much time in the morning, so much headache. But when I used to tournament fish, I would always find a place to leave the boat in the water. You know, when I fished with a partner, Michigan Walleye Tour or the MWC, again, it saves you time in the morning. You don't have to line up at 6 o'clock to make sure, or 5 o'clock to make sure you're launched in the water and ready to go with your group at 7. You can take your time. You can walk down, get your boat untied, get in line, and go. I can remember fishing tournaments. We used to camp a lot when my brother and I were fishing the Michigan Walleye Tour. We'd camp at Limit Beach. For the tournament at Limit Beach, we'd keep our boat in a slip, and we would literally be in the campground and be walking to take a shower while guys were already in line to launch their boats and be ready to take off at 7. Come back from the shower, go back, get dressed at the camper, walk back through. Guys are still in line. We'd hop in the boat, take us 30 seconds to uncover, unhook, start the engine, go get in line. And those guys have been sitting there for 2 hours. Didn't have to worry about the ramp, didn't have to worry about that. On the PWT, you get a new amateur every day. You don't know who it is. You know, can they back up a trailer? Can they not back up a trailer? Do they know the process? Who knows? So I always stayed in a slip during tournament time. My rule of thumb is if I'm going to be at a place more than 2 nights, I get a slip. Just the hassle of boat on the trailer, boat off the trailer, boat on the trailer, boat off the trailer. Oy vey. I just like being in a slip. If I want to go down and work on the boat, I can hang out. I know a lot of times at Detroit, you know, between trips, I take a little nap in the boat. At Saginaw Bay, I'll end a trip. It'll be a beautiful June day, and I'll grab my laptop and I'll sit on the boat for hours, and I'll get work done just up there enjoying being on the water and being outside, right? So I like to be in a slip. Like I said, if I'm going to be in a place, if I'm going to be on a vacation or a fishing trip for more than 2 days, more than 2 nights, if I have to launch a third time on my trip, I'm in a slip. There's no question about it. I just like to slip. So what about you guys? How do you guys feel about slips? Captain Todd says he's a cheapie. He pulls us 27 in and out every trip, less than 5 minutes to retrieve or launch. I can get in and out pretty quick too. I just prefer to stay tied up. I like it. I like to be in the water. I like to be ready to go. I like to save that. I try to save every 5 minutes I can in the morning because I hate getting up in the morning. My idea of morning is 10, right? My idea is 10 o'clock. Just getting up at 4 o'clock to go fishing or 5 o'clock is just something I just do not enjoy at all. If you've gone fishing with me on the bay, we've moved our charters back from an 8 o'clock start to a 9 o'clock start because the fishing doesn't really start getting good till 10:30 anyway. So why waste that time on the water at 7? We leave at 8, sometimes 9, depending on how the fishing is. I like that extra hour. I like that extra hour of sleep in the morning, to be honest with you. So again, that slip just saves you all kinds of time. Dave says he's in a slip located in the middle of his east to west geographic area. I like that. John says he doesn't like leaving his boat in the water. It's a boat. It belongs in the water. Only time he likes to slip is if it's on a hoist. I can't get the boat wet. What are you? Come on, Johnny. Can't get the boat wet. That's funny. I have a really nice covered slip in Detroit. There's no way I do the Detroit River. 2 trips a day. There's no way I'd do that if I wasn't in a slip. Oh my goodness gracious. I have a nice covered slip. Makes it nice for the customers to come and meet me. It gives them a nice little place to meet. There's a restroom there. That's kind of private for the dock members. They got a place to use the restroom. We can load up the truck if they got stuff in the truck. They're not fighting to get to the ramp. You're not paying every day to launch your boat. I just like it. Hi, Kurt. Jeremy says he's an early riser. I'm up most days at 4, so for me, I like the boat. I like to beat the traffic and pack at the ramp. Oh, Jeremy, you're killing me, buddy. 4 o'clock in the morning. What's going on at 4 o'clock in the morning that's so exciting? Oh, I've never been an early morning guy. So, but yeah, again, it's everybody does it different. But I really prefer to be in a slip. I love that. But there were times, this year with, as goofy as things got, Carol and I would get in the truck and we'd drive up to, we don't have a cabin, so we'd drive up to Linwood Beach, uncover the couches on the pontoon, and we'd sit on the pontoon for 4 hours. It's, watch the sun sets on the other side, obviously, across the campground, but we'd sit up there in the evening and take a little stuff to eat, and we'd drive up 45 minutes and sit on the boat for 4 hours and drive home. Just being in the slip. It's kind of nice. Matt says, I like not being in a slip so I can follow the fish. That's a good point too. Yeah, Jeremy, at 4 o'clock it is quiet. I do like that. John says the habit of not leaving the water. Yeah, absolutely. In salt water, you would definitely want, especially an aluminum boat. If you do happen to have an aluminum boat in salt water, you would definitely want a hoist. Salt water is a whole different animal. Matt makes a good point. He likes not being in a slip, so I could follow the fish migration on Erie. I don't know the situation in Erie, but if I fished, like I do on Erie, or especially if I chartered and I was going to follow that migration, I'm not so sure. Are there slips all the way along the way, Matt? Are there marinas as the fish start to move? I can, get a slip and I can, follow the fish and stay in a different marina. Just me. I just like being in the water. Tom says he slips his all season. He has no vehicle to pull his boat around. I either rent a truck to get it home, or I have a buddy who offered to trailer it home a couple times a year. That's a good point too if you don't have a vehicle. Frank says in a slip when he's fishing a few days straight, always have a 30 amp marine plug in your boat. Absolutely, always carry a. I have a 30 amp cord, 50-foot 30 amp cord. But I also carry a 40 amp to 30 amp adapter, and I have a 40 amp and a 30 amp adapter that just have regular 110 volt outputs. So I carry all those too, just depending on what I'm going to do. So yeah, make sure you've got those things. Definitely have those things. The easiest way to do it is have a 30 and a 40 amp. They make those little, Marine Co makes those little plugs. You plug them into your shore power, and then they've got just a 110 outlet. You just plug your regular extension cord in, and away you go. Some marinas won't let you use those though. Some marinas you have to have an actual full shore power cord because you use those adapters and a regular extension cord, it kind of messes up the whole system. So, but yeah, if you're going to be at a marina, I'll make sure you have one of those. And I like that. My slip at Detroit has power, has water. I slip at Lima Beach, has power, has water, beautiful dock. I'm right next to the parking lot. I just like being in the water. I just like that. When I get to the marina, I can get in the boat and start working on the boat. I don't have to worry about sitting in line, and that's just something I like to do. That's me, you know. That's me. I know it saves me a lot of time, and I just enjoy. I enjoy it. So, and I don't like. I bought the house next door to my actual house for my office. So I'm in my office, which my house is right here. My house is literally right 20 feet behind me across the driveway. I like to keep my life separate, right? So I look at it this way. I get in my truck, I drive to the marina, I'm in the boat, I do my deal, I'm done, I leave, I'm done with fishing. I can go home and I can be, husband, brother, nephew, or uncle, golfing guy, whatever I want to be. You pull the boat home, now you add another, I would rather spend an extra hour on the boat in the water putting things away and get everything organized than pull the boat home for 45 minutes or an hour, then have an hour to put everything away. I like doing it all at the marina. I'm done. When I'm finished, I hop in the truck. I'm done with my fishing for the day. I can go on and do other things. And when I get back up to the next day, I'm in fishing mode. I'm that guy. I like to separate my stuff, right? I like to kind of separate my stuff. So, there are hard times. Summertime. I put the Polar Craft in a slip in Detroit. When we're done with Detroit, I bring the Polar Craft home. It sits in the driveway. So there are lots of times in the summer where maybe we'll go pan fishing for a day. We'll run over to Holloway and maybe do some bass fishing, or we'll head over to a little local lake and maybe do a little walleye casting. Those little one-day trips, that's that. Obviously I don't slip there, but if I'm going to go for more than a couple days, I try to get in a slip. All right, Johnny, we'll see you. Have a good day, buddy. Good talking to you. So I like to be in a slip. So something to think about if you're traveling next time. Grab yourself a slip and away you go. Yes, Kurt's going to make a great point. I just read the first line, and I think he's going to make a good point. He says, when we did the Vets with Nets this year, the Detroit Beach Boat Club donated a slip to me for him to use. It made meeting my veterans and getting on the water so much easier and quicker to meet his vets there and go. It was awesome. Otherwise, I'm a trailer guy, covered while trailing and covered with 2 covers while sitting at home. I stash all my gear in the boat while trailing, so the cover protects my stuff. It's a wet ride destination. I like it. Todd says, yeah, but my boat at home has all my tools and everything I need to maintain or fix. Well, Todd, how much maintaining and fixing are you doing? I'd be curious to see that. I know I go through all, obviously, every time with the boat I go through all my stuff, and if there's something that needs to be fixed, I fix it. I can't remember ever needing a time where I needed to have my tools that I keep at home. I keep a set of cordless tools in my truck when I'm fishing. When I'm down at the, anytime I'm fishing, little saw, obviously a drill driver, electric torque wrench in case I need to do something. I have a set of tools I keep in my truck just to stop. And actually what I've tried to do is over the years go through my boats, and I know what size sockets and what size wrenches I need, and I just have a bag that has those. So I don't have a whole toolkit, I just have the stuff I need. Boat maintenance is a big deal, but I do it there. That's funny. Randy says I trailer his boat because it's small. I can put it in a small lake as well as move. Yeah, that's right. If you're moving from lake to lake, you're going to fish here and fish there. Absolutely. I trailer a lot. Like I said, in the summertime when I get done with Detroit, I bring the Polar Craft home and I just little trip here, a little trip there, a little trip here, a little trip there, a little trip here, a little trip there. Absolutely, you're not going to stay in a slip. But if I'm going to be somewhere 3, 4, 5 days in a row, I'm definitely in. Captain Todd says he changes leads on his rod every trip. Washes his boat every trip. I do all of my. We have a mix up on the boat, or we need some line change. We need some, maybe we got a big screw up. We need something calibrated. I do all that before I leave. I do it right there. I've got all my stuff. actually, my good buddy Mark Panazak lets me use his garage. He's right next to the slip. So if I got to recalibrate rods, I drive over 100 yards, grab the calibration station, bring it back over, put out the 100-foot tape, recalibrate, retie my leaders to all my stuff right in the boat. And then again, when I leave the boat, I'm done fishing, right? I don't have to come home and worry about taking care of fishing stuff. I'm done. I can go home and do what I want to do. But again, everybody's different. I mean, everybody's right because you do what is best for you. I'm just curious people's thoughts on slips. Like I said, I like to do all my fishing stuff at the slip, and then I go home, and then I don't have to worry about my fishing stuff. There's some days I don't get home. I'll leave at 8 o'clock, leave the dock at 8 o'clock, leave the house at 6:15, 6:30, get to Limit Beach, leave at 8, get done cleaning fish at 2. There's days I won't get home. It's less than an hour drive. Get my customers gone at 2. There's days I won't get back home till 7:30, 8, 9, 10 o'clock some nights because there's so much to do, right? You got 4 or 5, 6 rods that got screwed up, need to be recalibrated. Maybe you got a motor issue. Maybe you got a prop issue. Maybe you got whatever. Just get it done, and when it's done, it's done. And I gotta be honest with you, I like being in a slip, especially a place like Limit Beach has a fantastic service center. If I do have a problem, I can put it on the trailer real quick, pull it right up to the service center, and we're on it, right? They may fix it, I may fix it, they may help me, I may have to borrow a tool or two, but I'm done. That's a big deal. So Todd washes his boat every trip. Detroit River, I don't wash the outside of the boat every trip. I'll get it nice and washed and waxed before I head down. And about once every 8-10 days, I'll have some time in between trips. And, I'll get some soapy water and I'll scrub the outside with a brush from the inside. I can get on the edge of my dock and kind of clean it, and I'll clean it all down and spray it all down. I do that a couple times a year. Keep the engines nice, kind of wash them every couple days. Again, with the vinyl floor, just spray it down at the end of the day and you're good. So again, I like to do all that maintenance at the boat slip. That's just me. That is just me. Chuck Mason said the docks at Detroit Beach the last couple of springs have been underwater, darn east wind. Yeah, ain't that the truth? That's one of the issues with a slip. You better make sure that you know how to tie yourself up. At Detroit, we're there at Libra Marina. We use actually bungee cords. You can go to Menards. Menards makes these bungee cords with carabiners attached at both ends. You can buy them anywhere. I think they stretch to 12 inches all the way up to stretch to 60 inches. There's 5 of them, 5 different colors and different sizes. And we use those on our boats at Detroit because if you tie them with ropes, the water goes down, that boat's hanging. I've been down there with boats literally out of the water hanging by the ropes. So those bungee cords let the boat go up and down with the water. You want them loose enough that they can drop, but you want them tight enough that they keep you where you need to be. So we use those bungee cords. Something I do up at Limit Beach too. And they weren't a big fan of it the first year I did it. They're like, man, we'd rather have you. Well, we had a really, really bad east wind than a west wind, so it blew water in and blew water out. And there was a bunch of boats in the slip, and mine was the only boat that they didn't have to retie 3 or 4 times because I had the bungee cords and they kept me where I needed to be. And they're like, no, that's not a bad idea. So we use those bungee cords to tie up. Phil says there's always a project to do on a boat. First 4 years I've owned mine, I've replaced deck boards, had a track, replaced the transom. There is always, look at, it doesn't make it any easier with a brand new boat either, Phil. There's always work to do on a boat. Trust me. Trust me. Todd said, don't have to worry about the honest thief. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna knock on wood. I've kept my boat in a slip in Detroit now since 2007, and up at Limit Beach since 2007 when I started guiding a lot. And all those times on the road at tournaments, I have yet to have one issue with anything being gone. ever. Let's do that for sure. You know, and I also think if your boat's in the water, it's kind of, we have Ed Bolanowski's a great point out. He lives up kind of up by Hubbard Lake. I think if your boat's in the water and if you eliminate the getting your boat hooked up, driving to the lake, launching your boat, getting your boat out of the water, taking it home, parking the boat, taking all the crap out of the boat, if you can eliminate that and just go, unhook 4 cords and go fishing, come back, hook up 4 cords and go home, I think you're going to fish more. I really think I really think most people fish more. The less work it is to go, and a slip saves you some work, I think more people go fishing more often. That's just me. Like Ed says, if he can keep his boat in a slip of Limit Beach for the month of June, it makes more sense, right? And they're really not that expensive. You know, I know what I pay in Detroit. I know what I pay in Linwood, and it doesn't take, you know, more than 2 or 3 trips to pay for my slip at both places. They're really not that expensive. Plus, you know, the other thing that again, this is me talking. This is me, my opinion. The other thing I love about being in a marina is the people. There's always people around. There's always people to talk to. There's always people fishing. There's always people to go, how'd you do? There's always people you can talk to and say, man, I saw you had a good basket today. What did you do? You see them at the cleaning station. There's always people there to talk to. There's always people that need, you know, help with something, or you can get help with something on your boat. There's always people around, right? And boating people, especially fishing people, are cool. They're just cool people. So I like the social part of being in a slip and being able to kind of become part of a community. I know the Limit Beach community is really tight. Our marina down there, Libra Marina down in Detroit, is really tight. You know, we've got 6-8 guys on my side that I'm really, really close friends with. A couple guys on the north side that I'm good buddies with, and you know, we meet there in the morning. And you know, my side is mostly all full-time charter captains, and we get down there early and sit on the bench, have a cup of coffee. You know, talk about fishing. What are you going to do today? Talk about life. Sometimes talk about our customers. You know, that's part of it too, is that social part of it. So I do like that. Robert says he probably spends as much time cleaning and prepping his boat as I do actually fishing on the water. That would drive me nuts. I like to be fishing, a little bit of maintenance, whatever has to be done, and I don't want to see my boat again until it's time to go fishing. That's just me. I enjoy my time fishing. I love it. It's what I do for a living. It's what I love to do. But I like other things too. I like to get home and after a day of fishing, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I call up my dad and we go play 18 holes of golf. I like that part of it. I wouldn't want to come home after a day of charter and have to spend an hour and a half playing with the boat again. That's me. Lance Valentine, my personal opinion, I like to separate my life. Right? This is fishing time and where I go fishing, and the minute I leave that, I'm no longer a fisherman. I've told the story multiple times about why I do that, and maybe someday I'll share that some other place. This is not the place to share that, but there's a reason that I'm very specific about leaving fishing at the dock. Coming to the marina as a normal person, changing my clothes, whatever it is, to become a fisherman, going fishing. When that's done, changing my clothes back, becoming a normal person, and going back home. There's a reason for that. Maybe someday I'll share that. I'm thinking about starting my own little Facebook page called Lance's Glances, just my personal opinion on stuff that maybe fishing may not be. I don't know. Who knows? Marina is therapeutic. It absolutely is. Kenny says I had 2 instances with unwelcome persons on the boat, one at the E-course ramp and one at 9 Mile ramp. Each time I was alone, tied up boat to dock, went to park truck, and came back to person on my boat. And again, I think that's unfortunately, I think that is a function of those ramps. There's a lot of ramp rats around, especially in that part of the world, who sit around there with a crappy boat on a trailer. So it looks like they're there, and the next thing you know, you do what you do. You launch your boat, you go park your truck. They're in and out real fast, and you don't even know the stuff's gone until you get to. There's a lot of ramp rats down there. Just that part of the world, unfortunately. John says, I agree with less work equals more fishing. He has indoor storage near his house with electricity. Pull in, plug in, and leave. No tear down. In the past, if I couldn't get to the problem, it was tear down rods. If he couldn't get to the pole barn, it was tear down rod holders, remove electronics, cover, store. Yep. I think, and again, that's what a cover does, right? You just leave all your gear in there, cover it up. When you get to the lake, uncover it, all your stuff's there. Let's go fishing. I don't take my electronics off, right? I dock my boat in Detroit, and I have 4 Lowrance units on. I never take them off. I put my rods in the rod locker, lock it. I don't know why. Put my tackle in my storage compartments. Actually, I leave my 5 rods out that I use in rod holders. Just leave them out. I leave all my electronics on the boat and just go home. Go to my house I rent or the hotel and come back the next day and go fishing. So same thing at Lemon Beach. I keep 30 rods on the boat. I got 8 across the top. I got 8 on each side. I got actually I got 32 rods. 8 in a little rod holder that goes in the seat pedestal on the front. I don't ever take anything out. I don't lock anything. I leave my keys in the ignition. Somebody wanted to take the pontoon, they'd have to just get in, figure out where the on-off switch was, turn it on, fire it up, and go. I don't take the keys out. It is what it is. So anyway, all right. A couple things real quick. Good conversation today. Enjoyed that. It's good to see how everybody thinks. So, couple things. Ed Bolnowski asked about shows this year. I don't know. My gut feeling. Let me back up. So here's what's going on in the show world. NRA has what's called the Great American Outdoor Show. They hold it every year in, I think it's Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's a big show. I mean, it's a 4-day show. It's a huge show. One of the biggest outdoor shows in the country. It's held in February. They have already canceled for 2021. Niagara Falls show, big show that we do in Niagara, is usually the week after Novi, so usually after the second full week of January. They have moved to the 3rd week of February, and there are rumors circulating because, again, being in New York, that may not happen even in February. SHOT Show was just canceled. Obviously, we didn't have ICAST. The Wisconsin Fishing Expo, which is one of the biggest fishing shows in the state of Wisconsin, which is one of the biggest fishing states. That's usually held in mid-February. That has already canceled for 2021. My gut feeling is we're not going to have a show season next year. That's my gut feeling is there won't be a show season next year. I will tell you this, we're already working on alternatives to be in touch with you guys. We're already working on alternatives to help you buy product at a good price. We're already working on alternatives to give you seminar style or the kind of things that we do at the show. We're trying to give you, we're coming up with alternatives. So if we don't go to shows, we'll be able to kind of reach you guys, talk to you guys, and continue to do what we do at shows. Who knows? I'm going to tell you my gut feeling, and I hate to say it, my gut feeling is obviously my gut feeling. And I don't know anything. My gut feeling is they're going to do everything they can to make the Novi show happen in January. So I know the people at Showspan. I know the kind of people they are. I know their passion they have for shows. Not just because of what they do for a living, because they truly do love doing it. So I think they're going to scratch, kick, and claw to make Novi Grand Rapids Outdoorama happen. So my gut feeling says we may have some issues in Pennsylvania and New York. The Cleveland Boat Show is already canceled for next, I think it's end of January, early February next year. They've already canceled. I don't know. I do know, like I said, I do know we're working on Plan B just in case. Going forward with Plan A, but making a Plan B. Chuck says, as of right now, his understanding is that there will be tickets for a morning session, then tickets for afternoon with a fogging disinfectant time around lunch for Novi. God, I hope not. my personal opinion, you either do it or you don't. If you got to do all that crap, you don't do the show. Because Chuck, Chuck's a show dog. Chuck, you understand like I do, right? There's something about having a big giant crowd and there's people in a booth and somebody else is like, what the heck's happening in that booth, right? And here comes somebody. You start limiting the amount of people that can come in. You limit the time they can come in. You know as well as I do, Chuck, that flow, right, of that constant buzz is a big deal. It's a big deal, and I think when you kill that, especially today when I can buy anything I want online. Chuck does a great job with some seminars and little mini tips and stuff. So if a guy says, "Man, I wonder what Chuck thinks about this ice fishing rod," well, you can find Chuck somewhere talking about that ice fishing rod. He doesn't need to go to the show and see Chuck or come to me and talk about our jigs or You don't need to do that anymore, right? We're available online, and you can buy the same crap online. It's not like, I don't want to date myself, but the old days where you had to go to the show and then you went to the show to see the new stuff. And you went to the show to see people you couldn't see any other time of the year. That was the only time you got to see some of your fishing buddies. The only time you got to see Ellen or Kevin Van Dam or whomever, right? That's not the case anymore. So I don't know. 2020 has been a weird year. I'll be glad when it's over. It's been a weird year for me personally. It's been a weird year for the fishing industry as a whole. I think anybody that's in the fishing business has been affected negatively in some way, shape, or form. Is what it is. So tomorrow is election day. If you haven't voted, go vote. I really don't care how you vote. I would never ever have that conversation with you. That's none of my business how you vote. It's none of your business how I vote. I do want you to vote. We went and voted early yesterday. Had to stand in line. I was very, very, very comfortable and very impressed with the amount of people that were there. And I'm going to tell you where I was voting, that most of the people in that line were not going to vote the same way I voted. And I'm okay with that. If the person that I vote for loses, I hope it's the result of large voter turnout. I think one of the things that we take for granted in this country is the ability to go vote. Go vote. Go vote. Vote tomorrow. We will be here at Teachin Fishin tomorrow night at 7 p.m. doing a question and answer about fall walleye fishing. I know a lot of you guys are getting started. Some of you have already done it. We're going to do a quick little hour-long Q&A at 7. Want to kind of take everybody's mind off the stress of what tomorrow is going to be for a lot of people. I'm going to make a little statement. I'm a little stressed just because I'm human. And I've watched what occurred to my business this year, but I'm very comfortable. I'm going to make a little statement here that may, whatever it is, what it is. I'm very comfortable that no matter who wins tomorrow, that my hope and my faith and my destiny is not tied to who wins an election. My faith is in Jesus Christ. My destiny is eternity and glory. My life is, I try really hard to make my life a pleasing example and testimony to my faith in Jesus Christ. So the election will be the election. What happens will happen. God, in my mind, God will still be on his throne. Whatever's supposed to happen will happen. As a human, it's sometimes tough to handle situations, good or bad. But in the big picture, my faith is somewhere else. My love for every single one of you, regardless of how you vote or what you think, will not waver. My friendship for all of you, regardless of how you vote or how you think, will never waver. As long as you are respectful and treat people kind and take the time to explain your position as opposed to yell your position, I'll have your back, that you have the ability to voice that opinion. And I will be a staunch supporter regardless of how much we disagree, that you have every single right to have the opinion you have. Voice it nicely, voice it kindly, and explain it in a way without yelling. I'll have your back. Even if you're 180 degrees diametrically opposed to what I believe, I'll have your back. You have the ability to say it. Be kind, have an open mind, because what we believe today is not right. That's all of us. Everything that we believe is not right. We are shaped by our worldview of what we see. We all know that. And there are different things that we don't see that may change. So I always have an open mind. I'm always willing to talk to somebody that agrees or disagrees with me. So I can either verify and firm up my belief in what I believe, or I can go, I need to rethink this. There's nothing wrong with saying, maybe I need to think about a few things. Nothing wrong with that. So anyway, that's where I want to leave it with this. Jeff Lanther, yes, there are still openings for the weekend. Teachinfishin.com, and then on the upper part of the screen it says Education Weekend. Click on there. Information, sign up is there. We'd love to have you. Love to have you. All right, I'm going to read a few more comments and we're going to get out of here. Mitch, amen, brother. I miss the old days. Ain't that the truth? I used to laugh at my dad. Man, I miss the old days. Kurt says, have a great day. It's time to go blow leaves. Have a great day. Kurt's going perch fishing tomorrow. Good for you. Rock says, God has not left his throne. Amen, brother. Randy says, coffee hour, fastest hour of the week. Have a good week, guys. Have a great day. I'm gonna put the link here on the bottom to sign up for the trip. If you're still interested, we still have a few spots. We're gonna try to keep it under 50, because under 50 gives us the ability to kind of set the room up, and if people are uncomfortable being around a lot of people, we can keep people separated if we need to. So here is the link to the Teachin Fishin Education Weekend. Click on that link and that'll give you the information and the ability to sign up. Still time. All right, guys. Have a great week. Thank you for your time. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here every Monday. It gets my week started off on a good foot. It's good to talk to everybody. It's good to see everybody. Hope you all have a great week. Remember, 3 things we always like to close coffee hour with. Number 1, if you got something that is bothering you, something that you need to get done, something that just is a burden, find one thing you can do today to make it better. If you're struggling with something in your life, if you're struggling with something at work, find one thing you can do today to make it better. Concentrate on that thing, get that thing done. Number 2, continue to reach out to friends. Again, as the election gets closer, people are freaking out, right? Reach out to your friends, right? There's not a single person I know who has not been somehow negatively affected by 2020. Reach out. Talk to somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Reach out to an old friend. Say, hey, just thinking about you. Just want to know how you are. Hope you're okay. Do that today. Reach out to somebody you haven't talked to in a while, or maybe somebody you know is having a tough day. Send some flowers to somebody you don't know, or somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Call your local flower shop and send some flowers to someone up on the maybe up on on a ward that maybe doesn't have a lot of family visiting or doesn't have anybody to visit them. Spend $30 your local flower shop and tell them to send them randomly to someone at the hospital. They'll know what to do with them. Make somebody's day. And number 3, lastly, we always close with this at Teachin Fishin. Be kind. We all need each other. We all need each other. We may not agree. We may disagree. We may not believe the same things. That's okay. That's what makes this country so great. We don't have to all believe the same things. But man, we have to be kind. We have to be kind. Listen to what other people have to say. Don't yell your opinion. Explain your opinion. Be positive. Be kind. Just be kind. If we were all kind to everybody we met, every time, this world would change. I truly believe that it would change. Be kind. Just be kind. All right? All right, guys. Have a great week. Again, thank you for your time here. We'll have this up edited, so if you didn't get a chance to watch it, it should be up probably Wednesday. We really didn't have too many links. If I think of something, I'll post something later today with some links. But if not, we'll see you guys tomorrow night, 7 p.m., back here. A Q&A for everybody. Q&A for fall fishing. So if you got any fall fishing questions, be sure to check us out tomorrow, 7 p.m. here at Teachin Fishin. All right, guys, have a great week. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you back here again, if not tomorrow night, next Monday at Teachin Fishin Coffee. Thanks, guys. Fall's in the air, and that means two things. Time to start thinking about trophy walleye, and it's time for you to get signed up for the 2020 Teachin Fishin Fishing Education Weekend. This year, our Fishing Education Weekend will be in Huron, Ohio, November 5th through the 8th. 4 days of on and off the water workshops, meals, lodging, seminars, guest speakers, and all the fishing information you need to catch the fish of a lifetime. Space is limited this year, so use the link below for details and to sign up. Fall's a great time to catch the fish of a lifetime. Get your boat ready, get your gear, grab your buddy, let's go fishing.
Are you serious about becoming a better angler? Increasing your catch rate? Then be sure to check out the Teachin Fishin subscription service. The Teachin Fishin subscription service gives you access to exclusive web programming, seminars, live events, articles, workshops, and more every month. Early registration times and discounts on classes, events, and fishing education weekends gives you first chance to guarantee your spot. Check out the Teachin Fishin subscription service benefits and sign-up information by going to teachinfishin.com and following the links.